Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday to you. It's December 2nd, 2025. I got all your stories for your rush hour ride to work. And if you're new here, we like to compile all of the news, the water cooler information you need to have, whether it be pop culture or politics, get you to work. And then this afternoon, we do the rush hour to get you home. And boy, do we have a lot to get into. We're hitting all the notes here. Updates on the Luigi case as he's now receiving 6,000 letters in the mail. How will this affect the jury? We're also going to hear from Candace Owens, as some folks are a little upset at the sort of chain of command she used to report her, assassination attempt claims, or the hiring of an assassin against her, how she reported that to the FBI. It's pretty interesting stuff. So we're going to continue to share that in good faith, that very interesting story, which might be our generation's greatest conspiracy. After that, we're going to get into the wild stuff going on with our military, Pete Hegseth. What we're seeing now is this illegal order to kill several surviving members of the attack they made on these boats in the seas outside of Venezuela. Well, now we're seeing Trump blame Hegseth blame an admiral. It's a hell of a mess. We're going to try to break all that down. These stories and more starts right now on The Rush. So we're going to get to the Candace stuff next, like literally right after this story. But I wanted to share this clip with you guys. Luigi had a hearing for his upcoming trial yesterday, and now they are concerned over how they're going to get a fair trial, considering everyone already knows about this guy, and he's kind of got some legendary status. Have a listen.
Laura, there's been this odd public support for him. How does that play out in this?
Yeah, it's something like 6,000 letters have been sent to him in jail. He's raised almost $1.5 million. Now, that's all public. That's not what's supposed to be coming in the court of law for him. But still, it just shows you how important jury selection, I think, is going to be in this case. They're going to have to really try to find a jury pool, not who hasn't heard of it, not even perhaps who hasn't heard of the writings, but who can be fair. And that's what's going to happen as this case approaches trial, guys.
And, something we're noticing, this great divide we have, it's not left versus right. It's actually those that are rich enough and wealthy enough to have great health insurance, and then the rest of our country. You might remember when a tragic circumstance happened when Luigi allegedly, as he's the suspect, innocent until proven guilty, shot and killed this healthcare CEO. People weren't even mad. And it's not because anyone wants senseless death out there. It's not that at all. It's that every single person has a story of a healthcare issue that was preventable, or a situation where the insurance didn't provide the funding that they were obliged to. My health insurance is going up by $7,000 this year because they are getting rid of the Affordable Care Act subsidies. It's an absolute dire situation out there. And I hate to make these types of predictions. I don't think this Luigi story is going to be the end of it. I think you're going to find people that are so desperate, getting so royally screwed after they paid fair and square into a system that's profiting really for no reason, these mafia-like middlemen. I think you're going to have more people get very upset. And in fact, our country, I'm always shocked that they can sort of keep us at peace for so long. Other countries have revolutions for far less. It'll be very interesting to continue to cover this. I hope I did it justice. It's not about violence, but you know what's violent? People that can't get insulin, people that can't get life-saving care, people that watch their kids not get that sort of care, or have chronic disease that's not being addressed, or the homeless. All of these mental health crises, it all amounts to a society where they make it extremely hard for us to get the care we need. And when you see that, there's a lot of sick people out there willing to do sick things. I hate to start the episode off that way. Let's dive into this. Very fascinating to see what Candace Owens has to say yesterday. It was her first episode back after dropping the bombshell news that she knows of 2 assassins that were paid for by the French government. $1.5 million, an Israeli and a French assassin, according to Candace. She says she has sources and all of that information, but folks are starting to get fed up because, to make these sort of claims, you have to have either some good evidence or whatnot. And I'm not saying she's not going to provide that, but as you'll listen to this next minute, she didn't, I guess she got ghosted by the FBI, to say the least. Let's have a listen.
Now, in terms of formal replies that we received from government structures, The only department that we did hear back, well, first let me say I did not at all hear back from the FBI on the American side. I did hear back from the counterterrorism unit. I did hear back from the White House confirming that that message had been delivered on Trump's desk, me saying that I had the information. I guess he didn't want to inquire further, which is interesting.
And by the way, that happened with Epstein's victims. There was a victim who shared their story with the FBI, and the FBI literally didn't get back to them for like 10 years or something. So I'm not saying that the FBI is competent whatsoever. I'm not saying that. But listen to the chain of command here.
But the FBI left me on red. And I will say I didn't go through an official channel and send an email, and I should do that. But I did send a text message to somebody very high up.
A strongly worded text message. This is the problem I have, and it's not Candace's fault, but this is the problem I have with how we're like getting things done in our country, right? Where's the chain of command? You got to go through, you got to call and log in and whatever you have to do, right? Who the hell are you testing at? You just text Kash Patel, yo dog, assassin's trying to kill me. What's up with that? Hit me up. LOL. Like, what do you like? And the same thing with Trump, right? He's got his hands involved in every random little issue going on. There's got to be some sort of chain of command where the right people handle this, and you file. Like Candace should file some sort of paperwork. I don't know what she's supposed to file. Will she? I mean, if she claims she's got evidence of these assassination attempts, you would hope the government would want to know.
Received the text message. No response. Now, I thought that the claim of the French Foreign Legion being involved in Charlie's assassination, I thought the FBI might be interested. No phone calls even from Utah's FBI branch have come into me either. Wouldn't you want to see? Aren't we supposed to be investigating the Charlie Kirk assassination? It was totally not a state operation.
Now, they're too busy coming after the Minnesota governor. Who's got the time to investigate this thing? No, she's got a great point. And she's like, look, I got all this information. No one's contacting me. So either they think she's full of shit or she doesn't have much. But either way, if I'm Tyler Robinson's lawyer, I'm calling Candace Owens. I want to be like, hey, what do you got? You got anything that can help us?
And they really want to get to the truth, which explains why nobody called. No, Utah, not interested. I'm actually surprised Tyler Robinson's lawyer hasn't reached out to me. What's going on here? Oh, we've got to protect the patsy, right? We've got to protect the patsy in this situation.
Wow, which of course would be the term for someone that was set up and he's not the actual murderer. Again, we'll have to see how the trial goes. But again, if the patsy is alive, he's not going to fall on the sword for somebody else, right? So again, well, if he's, is he pleading innocent? He turned himself in. So many questions yet unanswered, or yet answered, I should say. But, listen, she's showing the math as she goes with this. She's doing the entertainment value work that goes into it. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch. But I'm interested. I don't know if I believe it. There's a lot of people that don't. Nathan Livingstone, Milk Bar TV, said Candace Owens has finally revealed her proof that there's an international assassination plot against her, and that proof is that you can't prove her wrong. A Candace Owens classic, a manipulative tactic she's used for years, flipping the burden of proof. It's the exact same playbook she's previously used. I can't prove my claim, and you can't prove me wrong, so my claim stands. She also knows how it's absurd that anyone could possibly think she made such an outrageous claim for attention, and then immediately brags about how much attention it got on social media and in the press. Let's have a listen.
Foremost, if you were one of the people online who believed for a single second that it was even a remote possibility that I simply made up a French assassination attempt heading into Thanksgiving week, I don't know, for like attention or something, a claim which has gone viral. When I say viral, I mean just the tweet alone had over 100,000 retweets and 45 million impressions on X alone. This was front page global news. From the United States to Russia. It's now been a full week since I made that announcement. And here is the official response issued by the Elysee Palace.
No response, crickets. So again, it's interesting. If she doesn't get the response from the proper channels, will she drop more evidence publicly? Call their hand. Do I personally believe there was a paid assassination, a hit on Candace Owens? No, I don't. I think that's crazy, but, it does happen. I just, I'm going to need more evidence. But hey, we're here. We're covering it. All right, let's move it on from there. Oh, boy. Coming up next, we've got, and by the way, if you're sticking around for the Candace stuff, we're going to deliver. This is fascinating. Trump says he believes Hegseth, that he didn't order the hit. Then Hegseth confirms the hit. Then they blame the admiral. I mean, somebody's getting charged with war crimes when this whole thing's said and done. We're going to have this entire story after a quick word from our sponsor. The Rush Hour is sponsored by Masterclass. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. I actually gifted Masterclass to my brother who was looking for some self-improvement ideas. I gifted him a class about developing good, repeatable habits from Atomic Habits author James Clear. With Masterclass, you get thousands of bite-sized lessons across 13 categories that can fit into even the busiest of schedules. Turn your commute or workout into a classroom. With audio mode, you can listen to Masterclass lessons anytime, anywhere. With plans starting at $10 a month, billed annually, you get unlimited access to over 200 plus classes taught by the world's best business leaders, writers, chefs, and more. There's no risk. Every new membership comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Masterclass always has great offers during the holidays, sometimes up to as much as 50% off. Head over to masterclass.com/rush hour for the current offer. That's up to 50% off at masterclass.com/rush hour, masterclass.com/rush hour. The holidays are all about finding the perfect gift, but this time of year, not every deal is actually what it seems. Scammers are getting more creative to trick people into sharing their payment info through methods like fake shopping sites and giveaways that are too good to be true. Luckily, Cash App's 24/7 fraud monitoring helps detect and alert you for unusual card activity should someone gain access to your card, so you can act fast if something seems off. You can also lock or unlock your Cash App card instantly right in the app for extra control and peace of mind. Stay one step ahead of scams this season and keep your money secure with Cash App. For a limited time only, new Cash App customers can use our exclusive code to earn some additional cash. For real, just download Cash App, use our exclusive referral code SECURE10 in your profile, send $5 to a friend within 14 days, and you'll get $10 dropped right into your account. Terms apply. That's money. That's Cash App. Cash App is a financial service platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Promotions provided by Cash App, a Block Inc. brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. So here we have Donald Trump asked about Pete Hegseth and the drug smugglers. He says he would not have wanted a second strike. So here's Trump saying, I didn't order it. And again, you're going to see a lot of blame getting shuffled around. Now, this is the second strike. So they blew up this boat. They've killed something like over 85 people. But they blew up this boat. There were 2 survivors clinging to the boat. And then they had a second order to kill them, which would be a war crime. You're not supposed to kill people that are defenseless. So let's listen to what Trump had to say, and we're going to break this down.
Talk a little bit about the strikes and the controversy around Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth.
I don't know anything about it. He said he did not say that.
And by the way, if you're blowing up boats in the Caribbean, the Gulf of America, wherever the hell you want to call it, I think you should know what's going on here. The fish rots from the head.
I believe him 100%.
You don't know if there was
You're talking about the 2 men?
The second strike to kill the 2 men.
No, he said he didn't do it. He said he never said it.
So Trump is claiming that Hegseth says he didn't do it.
Okay with that if he did?
He said he didn't do it, so I don't have to make that decision.
What do you think on the Venezuela boat strike? If there were a second strike that killed wounded people wounded in the first strike, are you
Well,
thinking
number one,
that would be legal?
I don't know that happened. And Pete said he did not want them. He didn't even know what people were talking about.
All right, so Trump's, and this is what happens, right? He says, I don't know what you're talking about. And then clearly he talks a lot more about it, like he does know what we're talking about. So now you're going to see that the White House is starting to take this seriously. You've got the press secretary here, Caroline Leavitt, which, by the way, she's not wearing her cross today, so she lies when she doesn't wear the cross. But she reads an official statement, so no longer talking out of their ass. They have lawyered up. Have a listen.
The secretary said to the president that didn't happen. But to clarify, I just wanted you to clear this up. In his social media post, Secretary Hegseth didn't go into details about that strike. He just said U.S. operations in the area were lawful, and he said that the story and media reports were fabricated. So to be clear, does the administration deny that second strike happened, or did it happen, and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Abe, and I have a statement to read for you here.
Uh-oh.
President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have made it clear that presidentially designated narco-terrorist groups are subject to lethal targeting in accordance with the laws of war. With respect to the strikes in question on September 2nd, Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes.
All right, hold on. Trump said that Hegseth had nothing to do with it. Now they're saying that he authorized the kinetic strike, the murder.
Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law, directing the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat to the United States of America was eliminated. And I would just add one more point to remind the American public why these lethal strikes are taking place. Because this administration has designated these narco-terrorists as foreign terrorist organizations.
And of course, people have described these boats. First of all, they wouldn't have enough fuel to even make it to the U.S. They are so far away. Also, it's been reported that these alleged drug routes are for marijuana and cocaine, not for fentanyl, and it actually gets trafficked to the Caribbean and then off to Europe. But it's like either way, you don't blow people up. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. So here we have, and again, it's like they're getting called out in their lie. 2 days ago, we told the Washington Post this entire narrative was false. Today, the narrative was confirmed by the White House. So what is it? And then they get mad at reporters and call them little piggy when they're just asking like decent follow-up questions. Here is another response from Caroline Leavitt, passing the buck off to Admiral Bradley. And by the way, you could have a case where both Pete Hegseth and Admiral Bradley get charged with war crimes.
Did Admiral Bradley order that second strike because there were still survivors after the initial strike?
Again, as I read for you, Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law. He directed the engagement to ensure the boat was destroyed and the threat of narco-terrorists to the United States was completely eliminated.
Now, could we start saving the boat? I don't like it. I mean, you see these movies with the evidence. They put the nice tape around. They like to preserve things. And we're just turning these boats into fish food. How about instead we get the Coast Guard or whoever the heck would be in charge to tell that boat, slow down, mister, have them take the keys out, pause, and we can raid the boat, steal all their cocaine. Pete Hegseth can try it to make sure it's good, a little booger sugar. And then afterwards, you can take a nice photo and say, we did it, we thwarted. No, but instead, hey, trust us, bro. Sorry, not in the mood.
The initial order from Secretary Hegseth, everyone be killed, and did that come from President Trump?
I saw that quoted in a Washington Post story. I would reject that the Secretary of War ever said that. However, the president has made it quite clear that if narco-terrorists, again, are trafficking illegal drugs towards the United States, he has the authority to kill them.
All right, so now it's towards the United States. So just in the general direction of maybe they're trafficking them to Jamaica, but it's pointed in the direction of Florida. So we minus, and by the way, how much money is this costing? This is ripping up the Constitution. There are so many issues to all of this. And every once in a while you stumble on some freaking idiot who goes, I'm sorry, but I don't want drugs to keep on. It's like no one wants drugs to be killing people, but this is doing literally nothing to stop it, including the President Trump, pardoning the Honduras president who actually did traffic drugs into the United States. This is all theater. And why? Like, what's the point? People are afraid to go fishing now because they don't want to be blown to smithereens and turn into octopus food. So we have Trump saying he knew nothing about it. Pete Hegseth is now saying, well, the admiral made the right decisions. And now how about this? A chilling signal to everyone in the chain of command that the Secretary of Defense does not have your back. Let's have a listen.
Just posted something that I wanted to ask you about. He said, let's make one thing crystal clear. Admiral Mitch Bradley is an American hero, a true professional, and has my 100% support. I stand by him in the combat decisions he has made on the September 2nd mission and all others since. America is fortunate to have such men protecting us. When this Department of War says we have the back of our warriors, we mean it.
Oh, boy. So here's Pete Hegseth saying, look, Admiral Mitch Bradley made the decision. I support whatever he did it. Hot potato, not mine. It's like, oh, good grief.
Okay, let me just translate this into he's pinning this on Bradley. Okay, he said that's what that's about, right? I mean, where do you see this headed?
He is passing the buck. He sort of sees the freight train that is coming, right? That both Republicans and Democrats are coming to the conclusion that this was an illegal, wildly immoral act, and he is shifting the blame.
And again, there's a lot of questions like, how are we going to know who did it? Well, I think there's going to be a lot of evidence coming out. There's a lot of GoPro, body cam footage, flight logs, cameras in the cockpit, whatever. There's going to be a lot of information that both Democrats and Republicans are going to want to see. Because let me tell you, I don't think the Republicans right now have any problem throwing Hegseth under the bus. I think, I could be wrong. We have an election today. I think it's District 7 here in Nashville or in Tennessee, which will be against Afton Bain and or Van Epstein, whatever his name is. Well, I think what a lot of Republicans are learning is that they've hitched their wagon to Trump. It is getting them nowhere, and it's going to cost them all dearly at the next election. Maybe they'll start doing the right thing and demanding justice. Now, here is a 4-star general speaking out against all of this.
General McCaffrey, if they wanted more information, what sort of logs does the Pentagon have? Verbal logs, audio logs, recordings? Would there be a verbal or a log of Pete Hegseth's verbal order to kill everybody? What information could they access?
Well, 100% for sure. There is a record of who said what when.
And again, if you're in the moment and someone's telling you to pull the trigger, you better write down, take some hearty notes here because somebody's going to be liable for this. So absolutely. Now, is this why they're using Signal Chat? Are they giving these orders through Signal Chat? Maybe.
We have to assume there will be an investigation. Hopefully in the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator Roger Wicker and Jack Reed, to get at the bottom of this. But look, the bottom line is the alleged incident of killing the last 2 survivors was quite clearly an illegal order, quite clearly a war crime if it occurred the way we're being told. That admiral who accepted the verbal order from Secretary Hegseth will also be held responsible for passing it on. So they've got to get to the bottom of this. We simply can't have the equivalent of a Nazi submarine in World War II machine gunning the survivors of a torpedoed ship.
There it is. And what side do we want to be on? We've got 4-star generals saying, listen, we're doing moves that the Nazis were doing. If it's true. And again, if Pete Hegseth said what the sources claim he had said, which is kill them all. Here's Senator Mark Carey, American hero, patriot, military veteran, astronaut. And of course, he's being investigated. Pete Hegseth says he's committed a crime. Donald Trump says he should be hanged. But this is the guy, unlike Trump, who didn't let any bone spurs get in the way of his serving in Desert Storm.
Everybody needs to wake up. The occupant of the Oval Office is ignorant to the Constitution and has no regard for the rule of law. Trying to silence me, in proposing to court-martial me, in threatening to kill me, for fighting back when our democracy demands that we must fight back. President Trump has crossed a line because I've given too much in service to this country to back down to this guy. In 1991, when Donald Trump was driving the Taj Mahal casino into bankruptcy, I was getting shot at over Iraq and Kuwait. In 2001, after Donald Trump said that the collapse of the Twin Towers meant he now owned the tallest skyscraper in Manhattan.
He said that.
I was carrying flags honoring 9/11 victims into space on a rocket ship. In 2003, when Donald Trump was writing birthday greetings to the monster Jeffrey Epstein, I was the first on the scene to recover the bodies of my fellow astronauts who died when Space Shuttle Columbia exploded during re-entry. In 2011, when Trump was hosting a reality show and peddling conspiracy theories against President Barack Obama, I was sitting next to my wife's hospital bed as she recovered from a gunshot wound to the head.
Jeez. I mean, are we looking at this is presidential? This guy's a fighter. Again, did nothing wrong. All he said was, you don't have to follow unlawful orders, because he knew something. Remember, they said this seditious six. They said this several days before this Washington Post story came out that Pete Hegseth ordered kill them all. So I mean, wow. You know, and by the way, everyone's slow to the news. Some people still would rather support the reality TV star president than an astronaut here. I'm going to hitch my rocket to this astronaut and trust what's coming out of his mouth over the president's. Now, I mean, nobody's immune from getting looked into, I guess. The Treasury Department announces an investigation into Minnesota welfare fraud after allegations that some funds may have been used to fund terrorist organizations. So there it is. It's no longer tampon Tim. They're calling them Taliban Tim. I mean, this is wild. We'll have to see. And who the fuck is this guy? 600 millionaire Scott Bessent. I mean, absolute ridiculous what he has gotten himself into here. I don't know if he's committed any crimes. And again, we'll have to see. Is there any merit to what they're claiming? My guess is no. But the Treasury Secretary is now using their bandwidth to come at. I mean, can we actually just work on what people care about? Affordable health care and cheap avocados? What the flying fuck? Breaking news, FBI Director Kash Patel is also threatening to open investigation into a staffer of Thomas Massie. I don't even have time to share this right now, but it's absolute banana land. I'll save this one for the afternoon, that they are coming after anybody and everybody that's going against the administration. And, you know, you cover it and people say, Dave, you got Trump derangement syndrome. Well, it beats the alternative, bootlicking for the president as they commit war crimes. We'll be back this afternoon. Got all your content every day, twice a day. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.